Shalom, Lord Christ Israel, Officer Katab, Officer 500 Katab, out of ISUPK Detroit. I'm holding the La-Sha-Wan class down for the mighty priest and officer of 1,000 Mashah. Yahweh Shamar, Lataba, Shem Yahweh, shout all the sisters. Laki Yahweh, Shem Yahweh, shout all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar, Lataba, Shem Yahweh, Slaki Yahweh Shamar, Lataba, Shem Yahweh, shout to the sisters. Today we're going to be going over the alphabet, of course. Get some things ready. Always go over the alphabet first. We're going to get into some more vocabulary words. Make sure you're writing these down. Keep them with you. And as you're writing them down, use them in your daily life. And that way you'll get used to speaking it and everything in between as we learn to take back our culture and more of our heritage. Also, we're going to be starting the Lord's Prayer as well. So we're going to be getting into those things. All right. Remember, in the La-Sha-Wan Kodash, we always go from right to left. So this time, I'll write out the pronunciation of them first, and then we'll draw up the characters, give you a minute to readily identify them, say them out loud, repeat them if you need to, and then we're going to progress from there. The first one is I. Second letter is going to be the Ba. God's the third. Da, the fourth. Ha and the Y is the fifth and the sixth. I'll probably space out the line. Make sure you guys can, I need to bring the camera closer a little bit. No, you guys can see that. That's good. And then you have the Za, the Ka, not Cha. I hear that pretty often. The Ta, the Ya, and the Ka. The La, the Ma, and the Na. You have the Sa, the I, and the Pa. And the last line will be the Taza. The Kwa, the Ra, the Sha, and the Tha. So you have the pronunciations out. Give you a quick second. This should really be the easy part. Like I said, the more we do it, the easier it'll be to recognize and identify. So let's go ahead and put in the actual Hebrew characters now. You have the A, the Ba, the Ga, the Da. You have the Ha, the Wa, the Za, and the Ka. Second line, the Ta. Oh, these things look like the X's. The Ya, the Ka, the La, the Ma, the Sa, I, and then you have the Pa. All right, moving forward, the Taza kind of looks like a line with a Z at the top of it. The Kwa, similar to the umbrella. I guess you could say the Ra kind of looks similar to a number 4, maybe. Have you identified? Did it help you read it, write it, speak it? And then the Tha kind of looks like a slanted cross or T. Yeah, I should have spaced out that top line a little better, but I think the camera's still picking it up pretty good. And remember, we go from right to left, not left to right. Got that down. All right. Let's bang out some of these vocabulary words. Like I said, just try to get as many down, because one of the things that always helped me learn a language is using the words kind of like on your daily routine. And we already kind of do that amongst us. We speak, I would call it like half English and half Hebrew, if you want to call it that. We say as much as we can say in English, and then of course, the words that we do know in Hebrew, we'll use them in Hebrew. You know, we just keep filling them in more and more and more. And, you know, that helps with the fluency. That definitely helps with a lot of the word recognition. And as we get deeper into it, we'll start breaking down the roots of certain words. I'll do that when I start the Hebrew prayer, the Lord's Prayer, because you'll see a lot of words and possessions that when you break them down, those are separate words. But I'll give you an example when we get there. All right, let's get to some of these words. I believe we did the B's the last time. I know we went through the A's. Yeah, we did the B's the last time, so let's knock out some of these C words. So the first word we're gonna do, I'm gonna try to get maybe 5 to 10 on the board, depending on how big I write it. Call. Oh, 1, 2, 3. I'll probably do 8. Which is pronounced Kwa, Ra, and wrote out in the Hebrew characters would be and then both of these are pronounced separate. So if you wanted to say call, it's Ra, and then you have the Hebrew characters. Some of them I'm gonna try to see if you can get it. Well, I know you can, because you just went over the alphabet. So it's really just breaking them down. So after I write out the actual English word, how it's said in the Hebrew, you should be able to fill in the translation. Easy. Second word is camel. And that's pronounced Ga, which is separate. And then you have the Mala. And the Ma and the La is connected, so we have Ma. Ga, mild. Give you a quick second to write that out with the Hebrew characters. And you have the Ga, which is separate, the Ma, and the La, which we connected to make the Ma. You see how that's coming up on the board. Yeah, that's pretty decent, right? Candle, captivity, and car. I think I can get one more from there. And carry. All right. Candle is nar. Captivity is shavya. Car is marakab. Ma-ra-ka. And carry is nasha'a. Give you a quick second to get that down. Nar is pretty simple. I'm gonna bring them out so it goes a little close. So Nar would be the Na and the Ra, and we connect them. Nar, captivity, Shabya. We know what the Sha is. We know what the Ba is. So you have Sha, Ba, and then you have the Ya, which is separate. Kar, Ma, Rakab. Very simple. Ma, Ra, and you have the Kab, which is connected. And the last one is carry. Nasha'a. Na, sha, ah. All separate. So you have the na, so you have the na, you have the sha, and the ah. Give you a second to get that down. I'm gonna keep reiterating, make sure that we go over these as often as you can and use them and build them in. When you're talking to your brothers and sisters, you know, Dad, oh, where you at? I'm in the car, Marakab. You know, I was sometimes when we talk about our work, we call it the slave. We had our captivity, Shabya. So, you know, we just came off the feast of dedication. So you had to tell a brother to give an order, go pick up some candles. You might just say, I need you to pick up some nar. If you don't know how to say that, you know. And the brother don't know what nar is, that's a teaching moment. Nar is candle. So let's build this into our vocabulary and our everyday use. All right, let's go on to the next set. The first word is going to be cattle. Second word is celebrate. Third word is going to be chair, cheerful, and child. I can get one more in there. Cheese. Those are our next set of words. I'm going to start at cattle. And that is alap. 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 You can already see that's two words connected. It's right out the I. You know what the la is. And the pa, connect them. You have alap. The second word is celebrate. Chagad. We already know what the cha is. I think it looks like a ladder. That's what I identified it as. And gav. You see two gagavs connected. See that? Third word is chair, which is simply kasa. Kasa. Next word is cheerful. Shamak. Cheerful. You have the sha, but you know that's separate. And the mak, you can kind of tell that that's a connected word. You should be able to identify that. That's not a separate word or character that we just went over in the alphabet. So when we put them together, and we write it out in the Hebrew, you have the sha, which is simply the character that looks like the W. You have the ma, and then you have the ka, which is the chair looking kanji. Child is simply yalad, yalad. Which wrote on it would simply be the ya and the la and the da connected. Cheese is gabayana, gabayana, ga, ba, ya, na. And of course, right now out in the Hebrew, the na probably is the only word that's connected. You can tell just by how it's spaced. You have the ga, the ba, the ya, and the na. It's a little close, but you see it. Gabayana. Give you a minute to get that down. And then we're gonna move on to the next set. And then we're gonna get into the Hebrew prayer, the Lord's Prayer. How many words? We got quite a few. I might finish, depending on time, I might finish the C's later. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get them all in and knock out the Lord's Prayer as well. All right, we'll speed up just a little bit. Choose, circumcise, and city. Choose, circumcise, and city. Here's our next set of words. Jew, circumcised, city, class, cleave, and clothes. All right, let's knock these out. Choose is barkar, car. Wrote out in the Hebrew, simply bakara. Circumcised is ma, which is the ma and the la connected. City is ayar, which is simply the I, the ya, and the ra, which the ya and the ra is connected. Class, which we are having now, so we're in the La-Sha-Wan Kodash class, is katha, katha. The next word is cleave, and that's the bak, dabak, or dabakwa, rather. No, it's the bak. You'll see it. So the da is separate, the ba and the kwa is connected. And you have the last word of clothes, which is shagar. Sagar, which is simply the sa, the ga, and the ra connected. All right, give you a second to get those down. So the next set of words is cloud clustering, coffee. And then code, come, and command. Code, come, and command. So cloud is Ash-Kawal. Ash-Ka-Wa. Oh, Salaki. That's cluster. Cloud is simply I-Na. You have the I, the Na, and the Ha connected, Salaki. Now cluster is the Ash-Kawal. Which is simply Ash. This will be a little smaller. Those two are connected, which is the A and the Sha. The Ka is separate, and then you have the Wa, which is just the Wa and the La connected. Coffee is for Pa. Cold is Quar. Come is Ba'a. Ba'a. And command is Tazawa. Ta, Wa. You have the Ta, the Za, and the Wa. A little clustered, but you'll see it. Give you a second to get those down. The next set of words would be companion, conductor or chief musician, congregation, conquer, and counselor. Make sure my space is right on all those kind of long words. So you have commandment. You have companion. You have conductor, chief musician. Congregation. Conquer and counselor. I said I was going to space that, but I feel like I just wrote it smaller. So we'll see how this way turns out. Commandment is Matazawaf. Matazawaf. Now the Ta and the za is not the taza. All of these are separate. So sometimes you gotta pay attention to those, because that'll be translated a different way. So you have the ma, the ta, the za, the wa, and the ah. And the wa is what's connected. So when you're writing it out, actually the taza is Slovakian. I read that completely wrong. The taza is connected to Slovakian. So the ma, na, taza, which is phrased. The taza is the one word. So ma, taza, and then the wa. No, Slovakia, Israel, I was right. Slovakia. Ma, ta, za, and then you have the wa. She will, she verse 9. But always double check, always double check. You don't want to teach anything in there. Slovakia. Companion is kabar. Which is simply the ka, the ba, and the ra connected. Conductor, it's a little longer word. Chief musician, conductor, or chief musician is the ma, na, ta, zak. Zak. Which should be written out. The ma, the na, the taza, and the ka. The taza and the ka are connected. Congregation is Aida, Aida. Which is simply the I, the da, and the ha connected. Conquer is mana tazak. Mana tazak. Which the ray is red. I'm gonna ask the mighty man above me, Shad, the question on this one, because it's written out or pronounced out actually the same way as conductor. So I'm gonna actually leave that one off. I don't even want to teach that. That's a good question. All right, we're just gonna go to counselor, which is wa Yahweh Tazah. Yah, why, not we, Salakia, Tazah, which is simply the Yah, which is separate, the Y and the I connected, and the Tazah separate. And then we're going to knock out the last 5, which is cow, create, cry, curse, and cut. I just came up with another question. Make sure if you get questions, make sure you ask, and it's just assisting in learning. So if we're going over these together, and I'm looking at these words, I'm coming up with questions in my head that will definitely help me to understand moving forward the growth in it. So cow is simply para. Create is bara. Cry is tazah and rock. Curse is irar. And cut is kara. All right, let's get them in the Hebrew characters. Give you a second. Let's see what you got. We'll see if we come up with the same thing. I'm sure we will. So let's start with cow. Pa, ra, ah. Pa, ra, ha, Slovakia. Create is bara. Cry is tazah, rock. Curse is irar. And cut is the ka, the ra, and the fa. Give you a second to get those down. All right. So let's try to knock out this Lord's Prayer. I'm going to read it in the Hebrew first, and we're going to get to breaking it down. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakavka, Baba'ah, Rafazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Bayarakazai, Kawai, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lakum, Cal, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawatiyanawa, Wala'a, Baba'ayanawa, Banasanawan, Babal, Hawashayanawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wala'ala, Wahaba'abara, La'alamim. Amen. All right, so that might be a little longer than I thought. So we're gonna get as far as we can, and of course we can always pick it up and finish it the next time around. Because I do want to start breaking down, like I said, some of the words that we see since we've been highlighting and focusing on the vocabulary. So as we're reading this out, we're going to identify the words. Those are also words you can just write down in your vocabulary book. And as we get deeper into it, we'll talk about some of the possessions, what word symbolizes those possessions to make the understanding and the reading and the writing of it clear. All right. So the Lord's Prayer reads in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We're going to take it kind of piece by piece. We might have to speed it up towards the end. Well, I don't want to do that. We'll get as far as we can, and if I have to just put it all on the board so you can see it, like I said, the next class I can always go back and we can just break it down and isolate words. But I did say I wanted to do that in the beginning so you can get a good idea of what I was mentioning about the possessiveness, the root words that you see, and how the ending can change the meaning of the word, or the plurality, or the possession rather of the word. All right. So the first is Our Father. Abanawa. 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 All right, so this part, I'm not going to write it out as I was breaking it down when we were going over the vocabulary. So I'm going to write it out and have the actual Hebrew letters. I'm going to draw some boxes to isolate what some of the words are in possession of. So you'll see it. So Our Father, Abanawa. Abba is father, even though we didn't get that to the father, the F yet in the vocabulary, we know that Abba is father. If you didn't, you do now. So you have A and the Ba, both of these are separate. And the Nawa gives it the possession. So you have father, and the Nawa makes it the possessor, shows you the possession and gives you the our. So Abanawa is our Father. The next word is Shabashamayim. Shabashamayim. do want you to see it wrote out too. So I guess I'll put that right under it. The Abenau, so you can see it. Abanawa. Shabashamayim. Shabashamayim. Even though I'm saying it all together, like I was saying, you have roots, words inside of that. So one of those words, Shemayim, would be heaven. But though it's Shabbat, Shabbat will be the which in. So you'll see it. So writing it out with the Hebrew kanji at the top, or characters at the top, you have the Shah, the Ba. The Shah is which, and the Ba is the in. Shemayim is heaven. So there are some sisters' names in the school, the Shemayim. This helps that word identification. We're probably going to get to that when we get to the H vocabularies. So you have the Sha, Ma, Yum, Ya, and the Yum. Ya and the Ma makes the Yum. This is separate. Separate. Our Father, which in heaven, I'm going to try to get the next line under it. At the time's sake, like I said, I'll put more of it up in sections. But this part, I just wanted to kind of break it down for you so you can see some of the root words and have a better understanding of how we're reading and how we're writing it. So the next will be holy be your name. Holy be your name. So we know that Kodash is holy. And, you know, in the English, it's hallowed, separate, you know, set apart. That'll give you the understanding of that word. Be thy name, and that's Yahweh. We'll write that out. And Yahweh is a name that you're just not going to use all willy-nilly. Like, people have names, and their names mean something. And you want to definitely put the most utmost and the highest respect on the Most High's name. You know, you just don't want to be writing and saying it for no reason. Like, if you're teaching it, if you're on Facebook and you're teaching, that's separate. But you're just not going to be out there just saying Yahweh for no reason, stuff like that, writing it out. You want to actually respect it. Treat this name as it should be treated, with the utmost, the highest respect. So, holy is Kodash. So you have the Kwa, Da, and the Shah. The Dash is connected. Oh, that was a little big, which is holy. The next phrase will be thy, Hayah, and Shimkai will be the name. Hayah is to be. We'll write that out. So that would be the Ha, the Ya, Ha, Hayah, which this will be connected, that's separate, and this is be. And then your name will be the Shimka. That's connected. The Ka gives it the possession, or who we're talking about, the direction, and that's separate, and that's the your. So you have your name. Give you a second to get all of that down. So you got that down. We're gonna move on to the next line, breaking it down the same. Like I said, for time's sake, I'm gonna try to put it up and finish it out, and then we'll go back next week and break it down as I was breaking it down up here. But you'll see it. So we got be thy name, and of course, the name of the Most High is Yahweh. Write that better. And that is the Most High's name. So when we're talking about holy is thy name, or your name, that's the name that we're referring to. The next part is thy kingdom come. Thy kingdom come. And that was pronounced all right, how was it? Thy kingdom come is Malak with Ka. Baba'ah. So Malak is a root word. You can separate that. So you have the Ma, the La, Malak, Salakia. Separating this, you just have king. And then the wa, wa, wa gives it the dome. So we're talking about kingdom. So this all together is kingdom. So you see in Malakwa, I'll finish out the ka so you can get the possession of it. Is your. So the Malak ka gives you kingdom and your. And that's heavy and very important because in this prayer, we're not actually praying for our kingdom. This is the Most High's kingdom. We're asking for His kingdom. You see that? And then the next word under that will be come. So your kingdom come. Well, I'll write that out. The Malak with the Ka, so you'll see it. So this Malak with the Ka is your kingdom. And then the come is simply Thaba'a. You have the Tha, and the I. Tha, Ba, and the I. All separate. And that means to come. Give me a second to get all of that down. And then I'm gonna get a little bit more on the board for the next line. I think I can fit it underneath before I erase it. So I'll just get a little bit more on this one. For your will be done before I erase it. So when you read the prayer, first read the next pronunciation will be Ratazayaka. Ratazayaka. And if you look up the ka in front of at the end of the Malakwa is your. So it's stuff like that you can pick up on. So when you translate, you're like, oh, I already know that means your. So write it out in the Hebrew, the Ratazayaka. Like it. Is your will. So the Ratazah is simply will. And the Ka, as we've seen before, is the your. And then the next word set will be the Haya. Haya. It's simply B. I'm gonna spread that out so I can get done on the same line. So I'm gonna rewrite that. So we have the Ra to Za, the Ka. That's separate. This is yours, and this is will. The B is the Haya. The Ha's separate, and the Ya is connected, and that is B. And then the done is Aisha. Draw a line in here because I don't want to confuse you. I'm gonna write out it on top because I don't think it's too much space at the bottom. A little bit more space at the top. So you have the Aisha. Haya. And the Ratazayaka. Give you a second to get that down. So reading what we already went over is the Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh. The Abanawa, you know, like I said before, Abba is Father, Nawa is our. So even though it's pronounced together, Abanawa, so like Abanawa is two words. Shabbat, Shemayim is which in heaven, Shemayim meaning heaven, Kodash, holy, separate, hallowed. Your name, Shemka, Shem is the name, Ka is your. Yahweh, of course, is his name. Malakutka, Baba'a, Ratazayaka, Haya, Basha, which is thy kingdom come, thy will be done. The Ratazai's will, the Ka is your. It's not our will, it's the Most High's will. Hayah is be, and Asha is done. Your will be done. Give me a second to get all of that down. I'll try to space the next, well, I will space the next one a little better. And I'm gonna change up the format just a little bit, make it a little easier to copy it down. So I'll be putting the pronunciation at the top, probably the Hebrew kanji or the lettering right out under it, and then the translation in English under that. Keep it a little consistent. So you have by reading on, the next section we're going to do the Bayarataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Lathananau, Lakam. Cal and the Yawam. All right, let's get in it. Bayarataza, Bayarataza, Ba, Ra, Taza. So the spaces will just help you pronounce it. It gives you a little bit better reading. And the Bayarataza means in English, in earth. So we just got done saying, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And where is this kingdom? In earth. In earth. And that that's the distinguishing doctrine between the truth and what every other person or individual that's not in the truth doesn't understand. The Christian church teaches that I guess we're going to meet John the Baptist at the pearly gate somewhere in the sky. I mean, that's depicted in a lot of movies, cartoons. You die, you rise up. But our kingdom, or the Most High's kingdom, and our heaven will be in earth, here. Like you're not gonna go to hell and be tortured by a man in all red with tail and horns and a pitchfork. Our hell has been in each and last one of these captivities. When your children are taken from you and used as gator bait, that's hell. And you ain't getting around there. Your child is beat by a lynch mob, talking about Emmett Till beat to death for something that he didn't even do. That's hell. And then to have the woman confess all these years later, don't see a dime of jail time, no justice in that situation when the truth had come out. That's hell. And you see the depiction of hell all through the curses in Deuteronomy 28, starting at verse 15 through 68. Zechariah 11:5, who possessors slay them, hold themselves not guilty or not accountable. They go your Tamir Rice, your Sandra Bland, your George Floyd's. That's hell. And that hell is right here on earth. All right, let's move on. Kawa, which is simply wrote out in the Hebrew characters as ka and wa, both separate, and that is as. And then haya, we covered that a little earlier, is be, or understood as in. And then you have the Bashamayim. So the Bashamayim, Yum is simply Ba. We can see that being in. And then the Shemayim, which we already covered in the first line, our Father which art in heaven. Shemayim is the same. Bashamayim is in heaven. And it's wrote out as Shah, that's the W is one. Ma connected Yum is connected as well with the Yah and Ma. And this means in heaven. Give you a second for that. Nathan Lanawa. Nathan Lanawa will be the next one we're covering. And now, you have none. The sun is connected with the thigh and the na. You have the la separate. Lanawa is connected. Na, why? Which is give us. And give is the Nathan. Lanawa gives you the possession, which is the us. So like I said before, as we're going over this, get you every week. It's not even gonna probably fill it up right away, but every week, get you a vocabulary, a couple pages for the A's, B's, and as you keep learning new words, write them down. That builds up your vocabulary, gives you your own personal dictionary, and use it as often as you can. Use what you learn as often as you can. Sometimes people ask you a question, like at my slave now, I talk to them the same way and they get it eventually. Hey, do you want this? Why? And they'll walk away from it. They understand after a while, yeah, that means no. They do something, I say to why. They get it. I step on a brother's feet, like Salaki, my bad. They understand. So when I say Salaki the next time, he get it. Oh, no problem. And just keep moving forward like that. Keep building up that vocabulary. All right, so I gave you a minute, get that down by Rakazak, Korah, Haya, Maya, the Thundernow. In earth, as it is, or it be, in heaven, give us. Give us. All right, moving on. All right, so we left off at the Thundernow, which was give us. So now we're at Lacum, Cal, Yuan. Lacum, Cal, Yuan. All right, so you have Lacum, you have the La, the Ka, which is the letter that looks like the ladder, the ka and the ma, which is connected. And that breaks down into bread. And that was one of the words we went over the last class when we went over the beads. Lakum is bread. And we're asking him to give it to us in a certain frequency. And that is the cow, Yawam, which will be wrote out as, now remember, I'm writing the Hebrew from left to right. I mean, from right to left. But when we're reading and pronunciating, it's going to be from left to right, but it's right under, right to left. So you have the cow, Yawam, cow, which is the ka and the la connected. The Yawam, the ya is separate, and the wam is just simply the wa and the ma connected, which could be broken down into all day, daily. And of course, the cow by itself is day. So we're saying, give us this day our daily cow Yawam, being daily or all day. Bread, and that's what we're asking for. Daily bread, daily supplement and stuff. So we're going into the wa salak lanawa, wa salak lanawa. Words get a little longer, so I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. So wa salak lanawa. Wa sa la la na wa. So writing that out is the wa sa, both separate. Lock is the la and the ka. Lock. That's connected. And the nawa is the possession. Nah. Wow. So wasalak now breaks down into and forgive who? Us. And forgive us. And then our debts I'm gonna write it right under. It's a Kabawa Yanawa, and that is Ka Ba. Let me select it. Ka Wa Ya Nawa again. Kabawa Kabu select it. Ka Wa Yanawa. So in the Hebrew, kanji would be the ka, wa, and the ba connected to get the wa. The wa, the wa is the wa and the tha connected. And the nawa is the na and the wa, and that's connected. And this breaks down into our, us, like up there, our, it shows you the possession. And depths, rather. Depths. And that's ka wa. So ka wa, which is the ka wa, is this, is that, and that is the hour, Yanawa. Yanawa. Give me a second to get that down. Like I said, we're definitely gonna pick up more vocabulary words. More vocabulary words next week. We're gonna go into the deeds, and we're gonna finish out the Lord's Prayer. And of course, we're probably gonna get into another one of our Sabbath prayers, breaking it down line by line, word by word, to make sure we have the complete and full understanding of what we're saying, what we're reading, how to properly pronounce it, and give you a deeper understanding to use it on a regular basis. So, with that being said, I'm in the class. Yahweh Shem La-Sha to all the brothers. Yahweh Shemal Latah Shem La-Sha to all the sisters. Shalom, Lord Christ Israel.